Hello, everyone. This is Southern Belle Whisper. I hope you all are doing well this evening. I've wanted to use this orange light bulb in a video for days, so I'm really excited about the lighting in this video. I'm trying for a fall Halloween maybe creepy vibe for you guys tonight. I did not plan this video. Actually, I kind of did. I went to Walmart today and I bought a new microphone. And I even asked the guy, I said, does this microphone come with a cord that connects it to my iPhone? He was like, oh yeah, it comes with it. No, it don't. So we are days away from having the setup that I want. It's coming, I promise. All I have to do is buy that cord. And I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a connector adapter cord that you can connect your mic. Somebody help me in the comments, please. And I'm also, I felt like using my friend's cup for this video, glass, I guess you could call it. My best friend got me this for my birthday last year. It's Friends. I love Friends, you guys. It has all the good quotes. I've showed you guys this cup, but I haven't used it in a coon's age, so. This is water, by the way. But today I am going to share with you some creepy stories from Reddit. I can't remember if I've ever shared from Reddit before. I know there are plenty of my favorite ASMR artists that have shared from Reddit, but I don't think I have. I don't think so. So, in honor of Halloween, I will share some creepy stories with you guys. But after this video, I'll probably have to watch Friends or like a good rom-com or something, because if I read these stories and I go to bed, I'll end up like sleepwalking or like having a really rough night. Like I'm a pussy, you guys. I don't like horror. I don't like creepiness, even though there is one story that I will tell you guys. I think I've shared this story in one of my videos. I might have. But it was one of my favorite creepy stories growing up. Like when I was 5 years old, I was asking my mom to tell me the story. And I would fall asleep. I don't know, I'm weird. But the story goes, there was this couple and they had been, went parking at Lover's Lane, and he went to go start the car after their little, make-out session, and they realized they were out of gas. So he got out of the car. Well, he told her, he said, lock the doors, and I will be back. I'm going to walk a mile down the road so I can find a gas station and get us gas. Lock the doors, I'll be back. So he goes, gets out of the car, starts walking to go get gas. About 30 minutes later, she's in and out of sleep. She's getting sleepy, falling asleep. And she keeps hearing the tree limbs scratching the roof of the car. And she's like, man, those tree limbs are freaking me out a little bit. But all through the night, it's windy outside the car, and all she hears is those tree limbs scratching the roof of the car. So the next morning she wakes up, birds are singing, It's a sunny day. She gets out of the car and she starts walking forward a little bit, and then she looks back and she realizes it wasn't tree limbs that was scratching the roof of the car, because she sees her boyfriend hanging upside down from a tree, dead, and his fingernails were scratching the roof of the car. You guys believe it or not, that used to be one of my favorite stories growing up. It ain't no wonder I'm so obsessed with true crime as an adult. But yeah, that used to be like one of my favorite creepy stories ever. Okay, let's get started on Reddit now. Like, my mom told that story best when I was growing up. I don't think I do it justice. Okay, so somebody says, when I was about 13, my mom and dad invited around our previous neighbors from the block of flats we lived in until I was 5 years old. Anyway, I'd been sent to bed but could still hear everyone talking about this and that, until the woman neighbor said, "Hey, Dixie's mom, do you remember when Dixie used to complain that there was someone in his room? Well, there's a family that's just moved into the floor above who have a 3-year-old son. He is complaining of the exact same thing Dixie did. This creeped me out. I had no recollection of any of this, so the next day I asked my mom. Her first reaction was, "You don't remember?" And she told me all about the weird stuff that used to happen. Footsteps up and down the hall, shit going missing and stuff. She said the final thing to happen was when she was listening to a record one day, and it started to slow down, like someone was holding a finger gently on the platter till it finally came to a stop. My mom said she snapped at this point and started shouting, "Will you leave us the F alone?" As soon as she said this, the record went straight back to playing normally, and we never experienced anything again. I've never experienced anything like that since, and these days I'm quite skeptical of such stories, but I believe my mom. Strangest thing is how I found out about it from someone else 10 years later experiencing something similar. So Reddit, Halloween is upon us. Now's your chance to share something freaky. Okay, and I'm going to read the top comments. Okay, so you might hear the cat. He's stepping on the plastic. We put plastic over the stairs during the winter months so the electric bill doesn't, go up. So if he steps on the plastic, I'm sorry. I know I was freaked out for a second too. I was like, what? Okay. This is 100% true, even though most people I tell this to in real life don't believe me. When I was really little, my parents would let me stay up late on the weekends and watch TV until I fell asleep. I really loved these times, and I would stay up later than anybody else just because I could. Well, one night, I was almost asleep on the couch when I heard a noise on our front porch. It was the sound of our old-fashioned porch swing moving back and forth. I was a little scared, so I crept toward the bay windows of the living room and peeked out towards the porch. Sitting on my front porch swing was an older woman, probably in her 50s, wearing nothing but a nightgown, covered in blood, and holding a huge kitchen knife. I flipped out immediately and ran screaming into my parents' room, but was too terrified to form words. My parents saw that I was upset, but when I finally was able to tell them what I saw, my dad got really angry and told me that it was just a dream and to go back to bed. I refused and kept crying and screaming until he had enough and snatched my arm and dragged me towards the front door to prove that nothing was there. I kicked and screamed all the way trying to make him stop, but he kept pulling me. Finally, we got to the door. He unlocked it, swung it open, and said, "See, there's nothing that." To this day, I had never seen the look of fear and shock that was on his face when that woman turned and stared at both of us and slowly stood up with a knife. My dad slammed the door shut and got my mom to call the police while he went and got his gun. He went back to the door with a 12 gauge and cracked the door enough to stick the barrel out. He asked her what she was doing, and she said somebody killed my husband, but it wasn't me. My dad told her that the police were coming, and she freaked out, grabbed the knife, and walked away. The police found her 15 minutes later trying to break into one of our neighbors' houses. I never slept in the living room again. Oh yeah, I forgot that after she left, my dad called and warned my crazy uncle who lived right next door what was happening. Apparently, he was waiting on his front porch with a shotgun when she walked by. He pointed at her and just said, "Keep moving, bitch." I just talked to my mom and she said that they never really found out the whole story, but apparently she was crazy and off her medication. Her and her husband got into a fight and she tried to attack him with a knife, but didn't seriously hurt him. When he got her out of the house, she cut herself with the knife, either trying to commit suicide or make it look like her husband did it. The police never talked to us about it, so that's just what they heard from the woman's neighbors. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm good on that, bro. I'm good on that. Nope, not me. Somebody said, my university was bisected by a big lake with a bridge going across it with an island gazebo in the middle. One night, I was walking down the side of the lake about to cross the bridge to go to a dorm on the other side. As I was walking down the sidewalk, I noticed some kid in a gray-white hoodie with the hood up, walking across the section of the bridge on my side of the gazebo towards my sidewalk. I didn't think anything of him until I walked by a big tree which blocked my line of sight for a second. When I got past the tree, I happened to glance back at the bridge, and there was no one there. He couldn't have possibly walked off the bridge. He would have had to go right by me. And if he had turned around in the split second I couldn't see him, he wouldn't have had any time to get all the way back to the island either. He was just gone. This gets creepier. About a year later, I was about to tell the story to my friend who had been abroad that semester. He never heard it, and before I even got to what I saw, he cut in and said, "Well, did you see a guy in a hoodie disappear?" Yes, he had seen something just like this freshman year. Effing weird. I hated walking across that bridge alone from there on out. I'm not sure how freaky it is since it's not paranormal or anything. But when I was about 7 years old, I went on a walk with my babysitter. We were walking back a mile or so to my house on a fairly busy road. And about halfway there, she says we should play Simon Says. At first we walked faster, then skip, and then jog lightly. Then she says, Simon Says, run as fast as you can. Simon Says, turn here. I was slightly confused, but played along. As we turned down the driveway, I looked back and saw two guys chasing after us, one with a bat and the other with a knife. We ran up to a house and some old people living there let us in, thankfully. At the time, I didn't grasp how effed up it was that we were getting chased, and I still have no clue what they were. 80s pumps with weapons chased myself and my babysitter when I was a kid. I think the freakiest thing that I've probably did is move my bedroom into the room that us as kids, all my brothers and myself, said was haunted. That's where my bedroom is right now. We called it Mary's room because my cousin's grandmother lived here. Her name was Mary. And when she passed away, he just put all her things, like pictures and everything, in this room, dishes, everything. I remember when I was a kid. But when he repainted this house and redid it, he cleaned all that out of that room and painted it, and now it's my bedroom. But my brothers thought it was freaky that I made it my bedroom, but whatever, I don't care. When I was younger, we frequently visited my grandparents around holidays, even though we didn't live in the same town. My aunt lived 2 houses down from my grandparents. The lady in the house between was creepy. She was a large woman, over 6 feet. She wore logging chains around her neck, a dress, and work boots. The only time I remember seeing her outside was either in her garden in the back or when she was washing the outside of her house, scrubbing the actual building. She did this often. During these times, she would yell at us kids and call us all kinds of things. She would tell us the devil would be coming for us. The adults had told us to leave her alone and to avoid her. We would run the distance between my aunts and my grandparents because when you passed by, she was watching out the windows. It was creepy, and we never went alone. One Halloween, one of the cousins dared us to trick-or-treat her house. I remember how scared I was, but I didn't want to be a chicken. Plus, I was going with the group. One of us rang the doorbell, and there was a lot of banging noises in the house, suddenly like doors slamming. When she answered the door, she had When she answered the door, she had a severed head in her hands, and we all went screaming. The adults told us it was a Halloween prop, and we knew we shouldn't be bothering her and deserved to be scared. About a month later, my parents got a phone call that the lady had tried to kill my aunt while she was bringing in groceries and had my young cousin in her arms. The lady had one of them rope saws and had come up behind my aunt with it. She put it over her head and around her neck and proceeded to saw. My aunt naturally flipped and started kicking the door. My uncle came and beat the lady down with a fire poker. The police investigation revealed that the woman had been digging tunnels under her home, which were coming up under my aunts, my grandparents, and another neighbor's house. She had been bringing the dirt up and putting it in the raised beds of the gardens. She also had a shrine of some sort underground, which had a few severed heads around it. My aunt survived it, by the way, but has a long scar across her neck. Okay. Firstly, my wife is also a Redditor and has been severely traumatized by our recent experience. She does not like to talk about this, so to prevent anyone from sending her messages, this is a throwaway account. Okay, let's take a drink. My wife and I bought our first house in February 2010. We immediately fell in love with it as soon as we laid eyes on it. It had everything we wanted and plus a few extras. For the first month, everything was great. Lots of painting and decorating, getting it just the way we wanted. Then weird things started to randomly happen. First, it was small things, like things upstairs being moved, put in completely different rooms than where they belonged. I chalked it up to my wife just forgetting to put things back where they belonged. The house also started to creak pretty loud. This is a fairly new house, so I just figured it was probably settling, as most new houses tend to do. One day, the wife and I were preparing dinner in the kitchen. Our stairs sit right next to the kitchen entrance, so any noises upstairs were clearly audible into the kitchen. I turned off the water at the sink, and as soon as I did, we both heard a cough. We have no kids, and no one was visiting. The windows were all shut. The television was not on. This sent the coldest chill down my spine, and I could feel the blood running on my face. I looked to my wife, and she too had gone pale and had this look of absolute fear. Someone was in our house, and they were upstairs. I quickly grabbed the sharpest knife I could find, and my wife called the police. I walked to the bottom of the steps and stood silently and heard a loud pop creak, just like the ones I'd always heard the house make. My hands were shaking, and my wife was whispering to the 911 operator, telling them we think we may have a robber in our home. The police arrived in minutes. Thankfully, they had been patrolling nearby. The officer walks slowly up the stairs, gun drawn. He calls out, "This is the police. Is anyone upstairs?" No response. I'm right behind him, walking up the stairs. We look into the first bedroom and closet, empty. No one in the half bath either. Last room is my office where I have my PC. No one in the room or the closet. I felt the tension ease away and felt like a complete tool, making this officer search the house only to find nothing. We turned to walk out of the room, and right above us, creak. I just about shat bricks. In my office closet, there is an attic access. The officer pulls the steps down and again calls out, "Is anyone up there?" This is the police. No response. He turns on his flashlight and peeks his head up. He finds a man in his 40s kneeling there in the attic, looking dead at him. Gun drawn, he tells the man to come out and put his hands behind his head. They arrest the man. He didn't say a word the whole time and would not look anyone in the eye. He was scruffy looking and had dirty clothes on. Me and my wife were freaking out. I don't think either of us have fully gotten over it. After questioning the man in the police station, we found out he was a homeless man who found refuge in the house while it was still on the market. He said the doors were unlocked, and so he stayed there. Apparently, a realtor must have forgotten to lock the door after showing someone the house. He said that when people would come to the house, he would hide in the second floor attic. We bought the house, and this guy was living in it for a whole month without us even knowing. It really freaks me out, and still just thinking about it. Just a couple more, you guys. When I was a freshman in college, I was on a film shoot near Barstow on Route 66. We were shooting on the property at the cafe known for the film Baghdad Cafe. This property has an abandoned motel attached to it, which is where we were shooting this unbelievably bad horror film. The motel's floor was full of papers, something I initially figured out was a relic from the past, while the motel was actually doing business. A while into the shoot, we started picking up the papers and reading them. They were handwritten letters from the 70s, perhaps never sent. They were addressed to dozens of different people, starting out normal, but going on to describe some really, really effed up things. This was a guy who literally had some demons. He kept talking about how they were watching him and the like. The handwriting also got more and more messed up as we assembled the letters chronologically. Meanwhile, outside the motel, there was a storage container with "Keep Out" spray painted on it. Naturally, we were curious. There was a hole in the side, and someone reached in and pulled out some documents. Among them was a letter, on government typefaced, I think it was the VA, telling the person who wrote those crazy letters that he was unknowingly a participant of some test of hallucinogenic substances while he was in the Army. This whole time, there was room in the abandoned motel that was sealed off, that we were strictly forbidden from entering. All the windows were covered by plywood, and the door was barricaded shut. It smelled like death. Seriously, the worst smell I've ever encountered in my life. Okay, two more. And this person's name is Pooh, with a lot of O's. Every time I've watched The Lion King, someone I know has died. Happened 3 times when I was a child. Always happened the same way. We'd be watching it as a family, and then the phone would ring during the movie, and we would receive the news of a relative dying. No one in my family has watched The Lion King since, around 15 years. Wow. Okay. Let's find. Somebody said, I'm not going to read any of these. I want to sleep well tonight. Grins and walks away. Okay. Okay. All right, last one. This is my first comment, so I know that doesn't help in the credibility department, but this is completely true. So my mom remarried about 2 years ago. My dad died when I was 12, so had been widowed for over 10 years. This new relationship was very whirlwind for them, meeting, dating, and get married within 3 months. I didn't know much about the guy, but my mom was happy, so I just tried to be supportive. She moved into his house in upstate Virginia, invited my fiance and I to spend a weekend in her new home, getting to know her new husband. My mom's new home was pretty isolated. It sat on a few hundred acres of lovely rolling hills and was very picturesque. I was nervous about getting to know this guy, but really trying to make the most of it. Over the course of our first day there, though, I felt more and more uneasy. I didn't think it was weird, just silly. My mom's new husband was being very welcoming and friendly. We were being made to feel very at home, yet still I couldn't shake this oppressive feeling. I finally chalked it up to me being more upset about my mom getting remarried than I was willing to admit to myself. We spent most of the day wandering around outside since I felt worse when indoors. That night, my fiance and I showered together. Okay, DMI. When I turned my back to him, he stopped talking mid-sentence and asked, "What did you do to your back?" "Well, nothing." "Why? You have a large bruise." I hopped out to try and see it in the mirror. I got back and we finished showering in silence. Then it was off to bed. The one window in our room looked out over a pitch black empty field, but I couldn't sleep until I hung something over the window. I felt sure that otherwise someone would watch us through the window. The next morning I had a complete meltdown. I woke up and just couldn't stop crying. I told my fiance we had to leave. He tried to calm me down by telling me all the things I'd been telling myself. My feelings of anxiety were just a result of seeing my mom with someone. The longer I spent with them, the easier it would become. But I just had to leave. It was only Saturday morning and we were supposed to stay until Monday, but I felt completely hysterical. I knew I was on the verge of a panic attack, and my only concrete thought was that I had to stop crying long enough to make our excuses and get the hell out, and we did. As soon as we were on the road, I felt like a weight had been lifted. I was even feeling embarrassed for my behavior, hoping I hadn't insulted my mom's husband by leaving early. Then my fiance broke the silence. "That bruise on your back, did you get a good look at it?" I had. It looked like someone had touched the middle of my back with fingers spread wide with their hand at a tilt. I want to make completely clear No one had touched my back the previous day, especially hard enough to bruise me. Cut to 3 weeks later, my mom comes to visit me. The entire time she's hounding me to come stay with her again. After finally trying to change the subject for the 5th time, I level with her. Before I've even finished telling the story, her face is white as a sheet. She tells me she has been feeling the same way in the house. She hates it. She wants them to move as soon as possible. And the real kicker, her new husband's previous wife shot and killed herself right outside in the same field our room window overlooked. All right. Definitely glad to watch some Friends after this, you guys. And to end this video, I just, to kind of get it off my chest a little bit and to add to my work gossip video last night, Nathan walked out today. He legit walked out. We don't know what happened. We don't know what was said. He won't tell me what was said. All I know is he walked out without telling the manager. And with me, he texted me. He was like, oh, I'll be there. You know, I just had to cool down. I had to go home and cool down. But my boss is like, no, we're not as cool with it as he is. He didn't tell the manager that he was leaving. He just walked out. And I get that, because as a CNA, when I was a CNA, if you walked out of a job when you're on the clock, that is considered abandonment. So it's not looking too good for him, and I'm supposed to be there working on Friday. We both are. So I have it's going to take a miracle, you guys, for them not to fire him. He's been reported. He didn't tell a manager he was leaving. He just left. So yeah, you guys just pray that they let him out the side door if they do decide to fire him. And she told me tonight, she said, Kelly, as a sales supervisor, you cannot get attached to your coworkers. You cannot, be afraid to reprimand them or fire them. And I was like, you know what? When it comes down to it, I am more worried about excelling in my career than the friendships that I've made in my career. What he did was stupid. It's on him. It's not on the company, it's on him. So, yeah, everybody, that is 2 of my coworkers that I've actually grown to have friendships with that are gone now. But, I mean, he could cry and beg and say, I've been here for 2 years. I'm sorry, I'm going through this and that and the other. And they may have mercy on him. I don't know. But my cat is freaking out. Come here. I want you guys to see him. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at this sweet kitty. Say hi. Say hi. Oh, it's my buddy. He's purring. See, this is the only friend I need right here. Right, Jasper. Right, baby. It's the only friend I need right here. But anyways, you guys, Jasper and I say goodnight.